Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. And I'm not normally on Thursdays, but I've jumped on, actually planned to jump on because we're doing a craft along. So, hey Pam, welcome. So if you signed up for this, you know that you got a kit in the mail, or maybe you got the tutorial, and we're doing the craft along, and we're going to show you how to make the cards. So I'm partnering with my friends Lorraine Tierney and Lisa Bowden from the United States, and so we're all going live, not necessarily at the same time, but all today and tomorrow, to show you how to make the projects. And maybe you didn't sign up for the kit, but it's not too late. So once you see these adorable projects, you might want to sign up. So there's still time. You can order what you need, or you can get the tutorial. And so there's three options. You can get everything you need, including the bundle. You can get the paper, the ribbon embellishments, and the tutorial, and then, or you can get just the tutorial. So those options are still online, and I will make sure I post those in the comments of this so that you know where to go and sign up for that. So like I said, not too late if you want these adorable projects. I'm going to be sharing 8 projects over today and tomorrow. So we're going to go live. I'm going to show you 4 today and 4 tomorrow. And so today are some fun folds, a 3D, and just a regular card. And tomorrow are some other projects. So welcome. I'm glad people are yeah, you did get all the pieces, Pam. You just have to prep. Yep, you do have to do your own die cutting. Hey, Amanda, welcome. So let's get started. So like I said, I'm doing 4 projects today, 4 projects again at 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So come join me then. And if you do want this, the kit or the tutorial that goes along with these projects, it is in both imperial and metric measurements. So if you're not in North America where we use imperial, don't worry, we've got you covered. The metric measurements are in the tutorial. So you can sign up for both using the link that I will make sure gets posted. All right, let's get started. Got a lot to do today. So this, and I will zoom in a little bit, but I'm out at my desk because I've been kind of here, and I apologize if I sound froggy. I've been sick all week. I went to an event with my Spinners and Weavers Guild on Friday where we were demonstrating all sorts of things. I had my loom there and was doing some weaving, and I was letting the kids, they had 300 school kids came in, and I let them play on my loom, and that was a big mistake because I got sick. Some of them were sick, I got sick, and so I've been sick all week, and I apologize. My voice is still sounding a bit froggy, but I do feel way better than I did. Okay, so this is the tutorial. So you don't necessarily need that, but it does have all the instructions, all the measurements. You do need it to be able to cut the pieces that you will need from designer series paper, particularly designer series paper. Okay, let's get started. So this is the first card that I'm going to show you today. So it's a diagonal joyfold card. And they're very easy to make. How cute are these bunnies? So I've just done a little bit of blending, and it opens like this and like this. So what you need for this is I've got limited space on my desk, so I'm going to apologize right away because I'm pretty sure this is going to get into a disastrous state in no time at all. So there is a package that has the pieces in it, and I have gone ahead and done actually this one doesn't need any die cutting, so I've gone ahead and done the die cutting for the other ones. So in your kit, if you have it, if not, if you're just using the tutorial, you'll cut these pieces. So you've got a piece of crumb cake. And I'm not going to go through the measurements because they are in the tutorial, but, well, actually, maybe I will. I'm going to do the measurements in imperial. Apologies. If you need metric, it's in the tutorial, which you can purchase. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And you have another piece that is 3 inches by 8 inches, scored at 4. And then pretty in pink is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We're going to cut that in half. And then another piece. There we go. 2 7/8 by 3 7/8, and then 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 for the inside of the card. And then a piece of designer series paper. I'm going to use the one with the little Easter eggs on it. 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, Easter, it's too far away, I can't even think about Easter, you can use other paper. There are some really cute paper. So, for example, the tulips and daffodils. So you can make these into spring cards if you're not into Easter at this stage. It's getting, not too far away, beginning of April. Okay, let's get started. Again, apologies for my frogginess sounding. I do feel way better probably than I sound. Okay. So I'm putting all of the pieces aside. I think these are the same size they are. So what we're going to do is grab your trimmer. Hey, Kathy, welcome. Grab your trimmer and we're going to cut this piece of designer series paper on the diagonal. So in half on the diagonal. And what you need to think about is where, if it's going to go, let's cut our card base first. So we're going to take our card base and we're going to cut from the score line down to the bottom right hand corner. So put it into your trimmer and line up. Let's see if there we go. Line up the score line in the track and then line up the corner point. Apologies, my desk space isn't big enough here for this. Let's move some stuff out of the way. Line up that corner point into the track like that. So you've got the score line in the track and that corner point in the track. And now we're going to cut that diagonal corner off. So let's go back to this so you can actually see. So that's what your card base is going to look like. Now your designer series paper is going to go down into this bottom left corner. So you just need to make, if you've got directional paper, just make sure you're cutting it so that it will go the right side around when you do this. So we're going to take this piece of designer series paper and we're going to cut it in half on the diagonal by putting the 2 corner points in our track. Save that piece because we're going to use it. So that piece is now going to go on here. And I think I've got this cut just a little bit too big. So I'm going to trim this down. So the measurements, yeah, I think I cut this just a bit too big. So I'm trimming mine. Sorry, I got ahead of myself when I cut. So I'm just taking just a snippet off. I think I cut too much off. There we go. All right. And so then this piece of Pretty in Pink should be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and we're going to cut that on the diagonal as well. So I've never done one of these craft alongs before. It's kind of fun to have everybody be able to see the cards and get excited about the cards. All right. So these 2 pieces are going to adhere on to the corner like that. Okay, so now this paper, you might be thinking, gosh, this paper is weird, and I'm with you. This paper is thick and glossy, but once you start using it, it's really nice because it gives you some sturdiness to particularly 3D projects. So it is glossy. Oopsie, let's get that on straight. It is quite glossy. I don't know if you can see that. But it is very nice, the 3D projects. Although one of the projects tomorrow, I think was a little harder because of how sturdy it is. All right, so that's going to go in that corner like that. Now, take your other piece. All right, that's not going to work. Okay, we're going to use the same piece. I was probably supposed to cut a second piece of designer series paper, which I didn't cut. So you will need to cut 2 pieces of designer series paper, both being different patterns, so that you, and we're going to trim this a little bit. Yeah, my pieces are not quite the right size. So you're going to cut, as the measurements say, to cut a second piece of designer series paper, and I use the basket weave pattern for it. There we go. So that's going to go on here. My card is just going to look a little bit different. than the picture, and by and the sample. Okay, so but it's all okay because it's going to look just as good with the same. Oh gosh, it's sticky. My fingers are sticky and it's pulling the paper away from straight. Okay, and then this piece. And I hope I've cut the right pieces for the kits, because I think I'm short some pieces. So this is supposed to go here, but I probably should have a piece of basic white cardstock that I don't have. Is it in the instructions? Okay, I'll cut it if I need it. Ah, no, I need another piece of designer series paper. Let's find my designer series paper. My Easter Joy. Where is it? Here it is. There we go. So I had my launch on Saturday, and I'm still not completely cleaned up from it because I got sick afterwards. All right, so let's follow the pattern. We're going to actually have a piece of this designer series paper that is the basket weave, that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Sorry, I'm getting myself all mixed up here. If you follow the instructions, I think you'll be okay. All right, so we got this, and now I've got a piece of the basic white, or the pretty in pink, that's going to go on the inside, and then this piece of the crumb cake is going to go over top. I've got myself mixed up. You do not need this piece. In case you can make another card from it. So this piece of the crumb cake basket weave is going to adhere on to the pretty in pink. That. Yeah, it is interesting. There is a few. There's one that coordinates with this called Pleasant Patterns, that is also kind of thick and glossy like this is. Like I said, it does work really well for some 3D projects. All right, so now we've got our card base cut, and now we need to work on the inside of the card, and I think I'm missing a piece of, I need 2 pieces of basic white. Oh goodness. Gotta find some basic white. Not thick basic white. Here's some. Alright, of course I used the last of my basic white, so I'm going to open up a new package. Alright, so I've got 1 piece of basic white, and I need 2 pieces of basic white that is 2 3/4. 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Good thing the tutorial is all correct. Okay. So we've got 1 piece of basic white. Hey Claudia, welcome. It's been a while, yes. And we've got 1 piece of pretty in pink that's going to go on the front, and then on the inside of the card. But we're going to do some stamping. Actually, first we're going to do some blending. So I've got 2 colors. Oopsie, I'll bring this back out. I've got Balmy Blue and Soft Sea Foam. And somewhere in my mess, I have 2 blending brushes. So I'm going to do, where's my card? Where's my card? So on my card, I did a little bit of blending at the top in blue and a little bit of blending at the bottom in Soft Sea Foam. So I'll do the Soft Sea Foam first. Open my ink pad up and grab some ink, and then I tap it off and then start off of the paper and just kind of blend I'm going maybe a third of the way up the piece. And then with the balmy blue and your blending brush, I don't clean my blending brushes so I can tell what color they are for. I'm gonna just take and do some for the sky. And I'm gonna leave the white, kind of the white space in the middle. So let's do some stamping on here now. I'm gonna do some stamping using Tuxedo Black Memento. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stamp my bunny. Aren't these bunnies so cute? Oh my gosh. And so I'm just gonna stamp my bunny kind of partly on the grass and partly in the sky. Like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna stamp Easter's on its way in the top left-hand corner. Like that. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, I'm going to stamp some flowers and an Easter egg. Just like that. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. So this is Pretty in Pink blends. I'm going to use the dark Pretty in Pink, and I'm going to just color the ear, the inside of the ear, and his little nose. And then using the light smoky slate, I'm going to color the rest of him. I always, when I use my blends, I always use kind of add a layer of the light of whatever color I'm using. I don't necessarily always use the same colors, but the light of whatever color I'm using, I apply first, and then I will go in and add where I want to have some shading, and then I go back over it with the dark. And I know there's lots of ways to do to color with the Stampin' Blends, but that's my way to do it. So then I'm just going to go in and add just where I think there might be some shading, and I will be the first to admit that I am not very good at coloring and figuring out where the light's coming from and the shading. So I just kind of add where I think, and I use the lines that the concept artists give us on the stamps. So then I go over it. Sorry, Pam. Then I go over it with the darker of the colors. And then I'm going to take my light Pretty in Pink, and I'm going to color the flower, the large part of the flower. The center I'm going to do with the dark Pretty in Pink. And then I'm going to do some of the... You can take a really long time to do your coloring. I tend not to be that person that spends a ton of time. I tend to just... I do a lot of just coloring with my Stampin' Blends because I really love the way they color. Well, and we don't have the Stampin' Right markers anymore, but I did like the way the blends colored better than the Stampin' Right markers. So I switched over to the blends really quickly. All right, so this adheres on. So Pam, you got lots of time because we'll do 4 today, so you can catch up tonight, this afternoon and tonight, and then you'll be all ready to go for tomorrow. And then this piece goes on to the front of that other card base, the small card base. And then the other piece of basic white that you may have had to cut because I may have forgotten to put it into the kit is going to go into the center, the inside of that. So to put this together, so you're going to close your main card base, and you're going to slide with the opening of the card so that the front is at the front of this diagonal piece and the back is on the back. It's going to slide in like that, and you're going to adhere it. So you can get it into position roughly, and then we're going to put some liquid glue on the back of this. And if it's in position, more or less in position, we can just close it and press down. And so then it should be roughly in the center of the inside of the card. Okay, well, and of course we need some of the absolutely adorable embellishments that are part of this suite. These are called Easter Assortment. I ran out of these. I can't believe I went through just about an entire package of these because and funny, I love these little ones that look like Easter eggs. But I went through more of the Balmy Blue and the Lemon Lolly ones because I was using it on all sorts of other cards. So on this one, I think I just used the Easter egg ones, and so we're just going to put some pretty pink little Easter eggs. And I have used these on other cards that aren't Eastery because I think even though they kind of look like an Easter egg, they are oval, and so you can use them for other cards. All right, so that is the first card. So that is a joy fold, a diagonal joy fold card. They are one of the easiest fun folds to make, like that. Okay, again, if you didn't sign up for this and you want the kit, it's not too late. Or if you don't live in in Canada, you can order the tutorial and I will send you the tutorial. So the tutorial is $25 Canadian. All right, let me clean up. I'm going to give, I think Pam's crafting along with me, so I'm going to give Pam a minute or so to kind of catch up and catch her breath because I know I am going a little bit quickly. So I'm going to clean up, put my cards off to the side, and then just pull out my next project because I do have a bit of a mess going here. I'm the first to admit. All right, let's put that down there. Okay. So if you haven't seen this, this is what we're using. This is the Easter basket bundle. It comes with these adorable bunnies. Look at this one. This one reminds me of being a kid because that looks like the chocolate bunny that I always got at Easter time. And then some lovely, I love the Hello Spring, making it that you don't have to use. It doesn't have to be for Easter or just for you. They're really pretty. And then of course these great dies, and we're going to use this basket die and some of these on the next card that we make. Okay, Pam, I think I'm more or less straightened around. So the next project is a Dutch door card. This was designed by Lorraine Tierney, who's from New Hampshire in the United States. And so it's called a Dutch door. Yeah, it is very cute because it kind of opens, and Dutch doors kind of are half bottom and top are split, and so you can open the bottom or the top. And I don't know why they're called Dutch doors. Maybe Amanda knows why they're called Dutch doors. Amanda's from the Netherlands. Maybe she knows if they're actually were developed in the Netherlands at some point in history. Okay, so that's the card. It's on page 4 of the tutorial. And I'm going to find all my pieces. So if you're crafting along and got the kit, you would have got everything you needed except the designer series paper that you cut. And then I went ahead and cut out the pieces that are needed for it. So you need the card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 in North America. You need to cut 2 pieces of, let's make this a little bit bigger, 2 pieces of, for the grass out of Summer Splash, no, Summer Splash, Shy Shamrock. I get those 2 mixed up, they're both S's. And also the bow out of Shy Shamrock. The little bunny is cut out of Early Espresso. The scallop for the basket out of Crumb Cake. A basket, perfect. The basket out of Timid Tiger. And then two Easter eggs. Now, if you want to stamp these first and then cut them out, you can. I'm going to be brave, and I cut them out, and hopefully I can stamp them straight. She says confidently. All right, use your bone folder, as always, to burnish. I didn't do that on the last card, and I can definitely tell. So that's your card base. Now, you've got a piece of designer series paper that you've cut to go on the inside of the card. So we're going to use, you can use whatever pattern you want, but that's for the inside of the card. But you need your trimmer first. So we're going to take our trimmer and we're going to put the card base in the trimmer so that the score line is in the track. You see, you probably can't see that, but the score line is lined up in the track. And we're going to cut down on the North American size to 2 3/4. So if you follow down along your guide to 2 3/4, we're going to cut along the score line. We're going to cut this top part off. So I have just cut up, and then you're going to take and you're going to turn your card base 90 degrees so that we're going to cut this flap off, and we're going to put that at 2 3/4, and we're going to cut that piece off. So you're going to cut all the way to the score line. And if you're in metric, you follow the cutting instructions for metric. Okay. So now that's what our card base looks like now. So we can take and adhere this piece of designer series paper. So this is the one that I love, both of these, but we're going to use this blue and green checkered or plaid, and we're going to adhere that. And then you have a piece of basic white that will go in the center, in the center of the inside of the card. I have a new glue, and it's quite a lot of glue coming out. Okay, so that goes on the inside of your card, like that. Okay, so then you've also cut, and I love that. I think this is my favorite piece with the excuse me, balmy blue and the daffodils and the tulips. So this piece is going to adhere excuse me. Yes, I know that's what people do, and also just to get some nice fresh air. Yeah, I have seen them. Few places I've seen them, but not many have Dutch doors, but they're kind of cool. All right, so that goes on the front of the card. So now we're going to decorate our basket. So you've got this piece of crumb cake scallops that will adhere across the top of the basket, just like that. We're gonna do, on one of the projects coming up, we're gonna do some weaving, which is one of my second favorite hobby, is weaving. And so we're gonna actually do some weaving because this basket has little slits cut in it that you can weave pieces in and out. So, all right, and then you can use dimensionals or you can use glue. I'm gonna use a mini dimensional on the back, just on the bow part of the knot part of the bow. So we'll adhere that. Now you're going to take so you cut out 2 pieces of the grass. So one of these, I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue on the front, and this is going to adhere just behind the basket. So it looks like the grass is coming up. And then we're going to take and adhere just a little bit of glue on the bottom of our bunny, and we're going to glue the bunny in the middle to the bottom of this other piece of grass. And then we're going to take a little bit of glue, and we're going to, I'm just going to lay it down here. I just find this easier. And then we're going to adhere it so it looks like the bunny is in the grass, and we have a double layer of the grass like that. So it looks like our bunny is kind of laying in the grass. And then I'm using dimensionals, and I'm only putting the dimensionals on the basket, and I am using them right at the kind of the top, just as an extra layer of security, so my my grasses don't come off. I probably put way more dimensionals on there that I need it. There we go. And then the basket is going to adhere to the bottom part, only the bottom part, not above it. That's good. I have been there. It's a very cool place. I don't know how you say it. I can't even begin to say it. Where all the windmills are, Amanda. It was very cool. Yes. Okay. Now, these 2 eggs. Now, like I said, I have cut them out, and I am going to have my fingers crossed when I do this stamping that I'm going to stamp straight. If you aren't comfortable with doing it this way, then stamp first, stamp, and then cut out. But I'm going to hope that, I'm off a little bit. This is definitely easier. Oh, that one's better. Easier to do because we have photopolymer stamps. But I just thought while I was cutting everything out, I would cut out my eggs. Now, I think the instructions said to stamp your eggs in Timid Tiger, but of course I'm not the best at following instructions, and so I cut them out I stamped them in Tuxedo Black Memento because that's what I had handy. And these just go right in here. Now, if you didn't, I guess it really is kind of an Easter card, but those go on there. Now, there isn't a sentiment on here. So if you wanted to put a sentiment on this, you could put a sentiment anywhere, but there isn't one on this card. And I don't, oh, there is a Happy Easter on the inside of the card. Okay, well, we will do Happy Easter on the inside of the card. And because I actually don't have Shy Shamrock handy, I'm going to stamp it in Tuxedo Black Memento. You can do in whatever color you want. Now, make sure you put it at the bottom so you don't see it when the card's closed. And so we're just going to stamp the Happy Easter down at the bottom. I put a mini dimensional behind the bow. Yep. So there we go. That is a Dutch door fold card. And there are there's some very fancy Dutch door cards where I have made them where the bottom opens up. So it's 2 pieces and it opens up. So you can make these Dutch door cards in all sorts of ways. But that was Lorraine's card, which I really love. I love that she used Timid Tiger because it's not something I would have necessarily used. And so it's always fun to make cards that are designed by somebody else because it takes you out of what probably is your comfort zone. Yeah, at least for me. Anyway, I love that card. Okay, now I'm gonna clean up a little bit again. The next project is a 3-dimensional basket, and I love this project. It was again created by Lorraine Tierney, and so look how adorable this little basket is. I don't know if that makes, there we go. So it's 3-dimensional. It's got a little box on the inside and it's got a basket on both sides. And yeah, I think it's fun to use colors that you don't use all the time. And so you can I don't have any treats in here, but you can put some treats in, some little Easter eggs, a little bit of this ribbon is the Balmy Blue gingham ribbon is part of the suite as well. And you know what I didn't put on that last card are some of the embellishments. So let's do that. Let's put some Balmy Blue embellishments where they're supposed to go. There we go. Okay. All right. So this is really easy to make. So I'm going to grab my pieces for this. So I've gone ahead and cut these out ahead, but I will tell you what you have in your kit. You have a piece of Crumb Cake Designer Series paper that you're going to, actually, sorry, you're going to cut that from your package. Hey Diana. So you're gonna, from the crumb cake looking like a basket weave designer series paper, you're gonna cut 2 baskets. And then you have a piece of crumb cake cardstock in your basket that you're gonna cut 2 baskets. So you have 4 baskets all together. And then you have a piece of crumb cake that we're going to score and cut for our little box. You have a piece of basic white you're going to do your stamping on. You have a piece of shy shamrock that you're going to cut 2 pieces of yeah, that's okay. I will show you those in just a sec. 2 pieces of the grass. And then you would have had a piece of Pretty in Pink cardstock, hopefully, Pam, and you were going to use this die to cut out the little strips to make the weaving, the little weaving the strips you're going to weave in and out for your basket. So hopefully you have a rectangular piece of Pretty in Pink, and it looked like this, Pam, and I cut out, saved the piece because you're going to use it for your designer series or for your sentiment as well. And so you're going to cut these strips out. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 pieces that are the designer series paper and we're going to weave our strips. So with weaving, so you just kind of have to get these are all slits that are cut. When you cut your basket out, you just kind of open and wiggle these slits. And so you're going to weave in and out of these slits. So over, under, over, under, over. And so I just push it down with my fingers and push it under, push it down, weave it through. My weaving is way easier than this. The loom makes it easier. This is, okay, there we go. And so that piece is now woven in. And just push it down, part way down to the bottom. I'm only going to weave 3 pieces in. So we started over. So for this one, we're going to start under, and then over, and then under, and then over, and then under. And if you just joined, this is the Easter Joy Craft Along. And so some of you bought the Everything You Need, the kit, and some of you bought the Make and Take kit because you already had the bundle. And some of you just bought the tutorial. And so this is the craft along where we're going to show you how to make the cards. And so I'll be live, like I said, today at 10 o'clock Pacific, and tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific. We'll do 4 cards on each of those 2 days. All right. And so I just take and use the pokey, my pokey tool on my take your pick tool, and just move those weaving strips down. All right, and so now the last strip going in here, we're going to start, because we were under on this one, we're going to start over. As you get up closer to the top, it gets a little harder to weave in and out because the other strips are holding the slits in place. So sometimes I take my piercing tool and try to force it through. I shouldn't say force, move it through. The slits just don't open as much as you get closer to the top and you've got some of the other strips woven in. So you can get your piercing tool and hopefully bring it through. There we go. Come on. All right, come on. It's through. I just have to get it. There we go. Moving, and now it goes over. And so be careful, because I've done this before. where you try to force it, you can tear the basket. And so just be careful with it. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to glue this. You are going to glue this onto one of the crumb cake baskets to make it sturdier. And so just be careful as you're trying to weave in and out. And I have got a tickle. Sorry about that. I am going to see if I can. Okay, I think I'm back. Please give me the thumbs up if you can hear me again. Apologies for that. Like I said, I have been sick since Saturday night. All right, so we're just going to gently push this through. Gently, trying very gently to push this through so I don't. So I don't tear it anymore. There we go. Pull this, and then it just needs to weave. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and glue my basket back together. Like I said, this is going to be woven or glued onto just one of those crumb cake baskets. And so it will be nice and sturdy because it's going to have that crumb cake basket on, or crumb cake cardstock on the back. So I'm just going to take and adhere it. Oh no, well that's okay, Pam. You could do it on the crumb cake basket on one side and the designer series paper on the other. It's all good. And I've got a lot of glue on there. Now you just need to take your paper snips and just trim off that the excess of the strips, and try to get it so it's lined up with the edges. So this is just making it a little sturdier. Even though the cardstock or even the designer series paper is nice and thick. I mean, we talked about this, how thick it is. It just, it makes it sturdier to adhere it onto that other piece. Okay, so I'm weaving, giving you a chance if you're crafting along to catch up. This is probably the fiddliest, not hard, fiddly part of the project, but it's so worth it. It's such a cute basket. I was so excited when Lorraine said that she had made a little Easter basket. All right, that was over, so we're going to do under. I got sticky fingers, which I don't like sticky fingers. Okay, there. Try not to tear this one. I'm going to try to be gentle with it as I push my pieces in. This is when you have to be just quite gentle. Trying to push it so I can grab it. And then just gently, so it Oops, it's there. Push. There we go. And then open that and push it. There we go. All right. Okay, and so we started over. So this is going to be over. This is, as I said, this is where it gets the hardest because your woven strips that you've done already are holding this and making it sturdier. So you just have to be just a little bit careful. Try to just push down to create an opening to get the strip through. And then down to pull it up through. Usually take your pick tool. Comes in handy. Slide it through. Come up here. Onto it. Can she grab onto it? There we go. And then down. And then one more to come up. Yay, I didn't tear that one. So my torn one, even though you're not going to see it, is going to be at the back of my basket. And, oops, this one came out. Okay, there we go. Okay, now you can take and just trim. You can do that when you've got it glued on too, but trim those excess basket strips off, and then this piece gets glued. Just take a little bit of glue, which I didn't do on the other one, but if you don't glue it, it's okay because the ribbon at the end will attach those pieces. Okay, we have our baskets kind of pieces put together. So the next thing we need to do, so we didn't use all the strips. You could use all the strips, but I think it just makes it harder to weave all that if you use all the strips. And I am going to take a drink of water so I don't start coughing, hopefully. So in your tutorial, there is a template for how to how to score and cut the little box that goes in this. So you need your paper trimmer. And what we're going to do is with now this is the Imperial. So with the 3 1/4 inch side of the crumb cake at the top, which is the 8.3 centimeter side. So that's the short side. So with the short side at the top, we are going to score, again, I'm talking Imperial. We're going to score at 1 1/4 and at 2. So this isn't a very big box. And then we're going to turn it and we're going to score it with the long side at the top. We're going to score it at 1 1/4 and 3 1/4. So if you can see those, so we've got, it's not a very wide box. So now we're going to take and we're going to cut up on these. So with the long side facing towards you, cut up on the from the score line up to the first score line, turn it around, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So this template is in the tutorial, if you're not sure. Now, I'm just going to take, and the template shows you to do this, you're just going to take and cut about half of those flaps. So that flap you created on each end on both sides, we're just going to take and cut about half of it off. And it doesn't have to be exact, we're just taking some of the bulk off of it. And so that's what our little box is going to look like before we start folding it. So now you can take your bone folder and burnish. So we're just folding on the score lines and burnishing. Could have done this beforehand too, but okay. So now we've got our box. So the way I do it is I take and I fold the ends in like that, and I fold, so these go to the inside, and that is going to be your little box. And so you can do one part one at a time. So I'm going to just do one end at a time. So I'm going to put glue on each of these ends, fold it inwards, and then just adhere so the edges line up. So I'm just got the edges, and depending on how much you trimmed off, it may not match exactly. So it's not going to show, it doesn't really matter, but I trimmed off, I didn't trim off quite enough to make it the same length as the sides of the box, but that's okay. This is all going to be hidden behind those two baskets that we made, or yeah, two basket front and back that we made. So this goes in like that, and then adhere. So just hold that. If you're using glue, just hold it until it sticks. And if you're using tear and tape, which you absolutely can, of course it'll be stuck pretty much right away. Doesn't give you much wiggle room. Okay, so we've now got our baskets. We're going to turn them so well, we only need one of them, which was my torn one. That was my torn one. Okay, so put the back down, and then we're going to take and adhere this little box to the back of the basket. So I've just put some glue. Again, you can use tear and tape. And so I'm just going to put this in. It fits kind of perfectly. So put it close to the bottom, and it shouldn't show over the top. And just hold it in place until it's tacky and stuck. And then you can take the same. Now I'm going to put the glue on here so I don't get too much glue and more glue than I want. And the same, you're going to do this one. And at that point I just turn it so it's flat on the bottom and roughly lined up like that. And so I've got my cute little basket. Oh my gosh. And so easy to make. And in the template, it actually even shows you where to put the glue. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So we need to stamp this Easter bunny. We have two pieces of the grass, we cut out of the shy shamrocks. So we can just put one of those, and you could have done this before you glued it on, which probably would have been better, but there's still room. Like that. And like that. So we got our grass. Now we're going to take and we're going to stamp our bunny using Tuxedo Black Memento. I think that's what. No, actually I lied. Crumb cake. And this time I do actually have the crumb cake ink pad. And we're stamping the bunny. The other bunny. The other bunny. Where's the other bunny? There he is. We're stamping the bunny with the flopped over ear in crumb cake. And I don't know. Yeah, and we'll just do the ear in the pretty in pink. Just the inside of the ear and the little nose. Now there is a die to cut this out. I'm gonna just fussy cut because just sometimes it's just easier to fussy cut. But if you've got the bundle, you've got the die you can use. So if you aren't a fussy cutter, grab the die and use it. Sometimes if I only have one thing to die cut, I just find it easier to grab my scissors. But I know that not everybody is into fussy cutting. Okay. And then the other thing we need to do is looking to see what color. Tuxedo black Memento, and we're going to stamp the For You. No, here. Upside down and everything. There we go. All right, and I need to color this inside of this ear. Can you imagine an Easter table with baskets for everybody? I just think it would be so cute. Okay, so we've got our little bunny, and I'm going to use dimensionals to pop him up. Like that. That's my back. Don't want to use that side. I got a bunch of glue on there, and that's where I have my little torn part. And then if you don't like, again, if you don't like to fussy cut, you could just cut a little rectangle out and stamp the For You on it. And I'm going to use mini dimensionals because it's not very wide. And just put a couple of mini dimensionals on, and then he goes like that. Now, now we're going to tie a bow with this really pretty balmy blue gingham ribbon. So I'm going to cut, I don't know, I'm going to cut about 11-12 inches, and I'm going to put it through the top of my basket and tie a bow. She says, confidently tie a bow. There we go. Yeah. Oops, I got one really big loop. There we go. So a little bow on the top of my basket, and then of course we need some of these cute little Easter eggs wherever you want to put them. Like that. And I can't wait to make some of these for the Easter table. So cute. Okay. Phew. 3 done. 1 to go. Again, let me clean up just a little bit before we get started. That's the next card. I have got stuff all over. right. So the next project is if you can see it. So it's on page 10 of the tutorial. And it is a Z fold or Z fold if you're from the United States. Canada, we say Z. I think in the rest of the world we say Z, but I'm not positive. So it's what we call a Z fold card, but it's a triple Z fold card. And so all of the different layers are different lengths, so slightly wider than one another, and then varying lengths down the card. Isn't it cute? So this card was created by Lisa Bowden. So this is the first of Lisa's projects. The first card was mine, the second two were Lorraine's, and then this was Lisa's. Again, so cute, and uses up a lot of the designer series paper. So let me get my project out, all my pieces. I think the only die cutting that you need to do for this are 2 pieces of the Shai Shamrock grass. And so then you've got the main card base, you've got the middle section, and you've got the bottom section, all cut out of balmy blue. And then it helps if you kind of just layer these where they're supposed to go. So you're going to cut, and I'm going to show you this in the instructions because it took me a little bit of time to figure out. So in the instructions, I'll flip to the designer series paper. You've got left panels, middle panels, and right panels. And so every one of these, so this is the left panels, the middle panels, and the right panels. And so it tells you what to cut. It's all designer series paper with the exception of the middle back. The middle is what Lisa has in the instructions. So this is left, middle, right, and top, middle, bottom. And so the middle is actually basic white. Everything else is designer series paper. And so, and some of them you might kind of wonder, so I think it's these 2 pieces are not full length. Because of the thickness of this paper, it just makes this card really thick. And so Lisa didn't cut full length pieces for those, so they end just below where the next piece joins. So that's just if you're looking at this wondering what the heck is going on. So I'm just going to take my pieces. Isn't that the middle of the top? Sorry, I lied. It's middle back, Pam. I'm sorry. Middle back is basic white. So this is left, middle, right, left, middle, right, top, middle, bottom. So it's actually the middle back piece that is basic white. Thank you. So I just find it easiest to take and layer the pieces on once you've got them cut. And if you have cut the same designer series paper as what is in the picture, that helps you. That goes on here. Because there are a lot of pieces here to actually keep track of. So that goes there for sure. That goes there for sure. Let's do this so that you can see. There we go. All right. And then my long piece, that's pretty easy, goes on like that. Again, this one goes this way. This one goes here. I might have cut different designer series paper, than what Lisa has, but that's okay. All right. I think that's close enough. I've got a different piece here than Lisa's got, but that's okay. It's whatever you want to cut. So that's how this is going together. And it helps if you actually adhere these pieces on first. And so that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to take, and this is even before I've burnished and folded, we're just going to take and adhere our pieces of designer series paper. This is a great card for using up your scraps, because we all end up with a whole bunch of scraps with our designer series paper, and this is a great way to use up those scraps. So this is the bottom. Like that. Move that out of the way and let it dry. Now this piece, like I said, isn't full width or full length of the piece, because it's going to be hidden, because you're going to adhere the bottom section right over top, and so it's going to go at the top of that piece. And if you want to use whatever designer series paper you want, switch it up. It's your card. You're just joining us, this is the Easter Joy Craft Along, and it's a you can get the I Want It All, which includes the Easter Joy, or the Easter Basket bundle, plus the Easter Joy Designer Series paper, the balmy blue gingham ribbon, the Easter assortment embellishments, as well as the make and take kit and a pillow gift. Hopefully you all enjoyed your pillow gift. And if you already have the bundle, you can order the make and take kit, which also includes a package of the designer series paper and the ribbon and the embellishments. Or if you would like, you can just order the tutorial for the projects. There are 8 projects. So if I'm going to be doing, this is the 4th of 8 that I'm doing today, and the other 4 we will do tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific as well. Okay, so that's there. So we'll get all of our pieces of designer series paper adhered on, and then we can start folding these and burnishing. Okay, so if you've ever made a Z fold card, oh yeah, I hope you enjoyed them, Pam. So we're going to take our this is kind of the main card base. So we're going to fold it in half, and then we're going to fold back. And so it does, and just burnish those. So it looks like a Z or a Z. And then the next section is the middle section, which is the wider of the 2 that you have left. And again, this is the wider section is going to go towards the left. So we're going to fold it. We're going to fold it in a mountain and a valley configuration, but it still looks like a Z. Oh, sorry, Pam. You'll get there. All right, so that gets folded and burnished, and then so mountain and then valley. And this is going to adhere on top of this one, and I'll do that in just a minute. And this last piece is going to have the longest section towards the left, and it's going to be in a mountain and a valley and burnish. All right, and so that piece is going to go on like that and like that. So they all lay flat when you go to adhere them. And when you actually get them in place, the card folds like that. So isn't that cool? All right, so when you go to adhere these pieces together, this piece is going to adhere to the back flap, only the back flap, not over onto the basic white. And so I think it's easiest to put the glue where I know it's supposed to go, and not on the back of this, because sometimes then I get it too far and not in the place it's supposed to go. So that's going on to the card base. And then this whole section, this whole right-hand flap is going to adhere down. And if you keep it flat, you can align up the edges. So that's down like that. And it's got, now we've got a kind of a double Z. And then this piece, so if you're using directional paper, you want to make sure that your paper is going in the right way around. And again, this is going to adhere only to this flap. It is longer. It's a little bit longer. And so you want to make sure it's only to this. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put the glue only on this section here, which is where I know I want it to go. And then this section, this piece can adhere on, lining up with the left edge and the bottom edge. And then you can take and adhere that down. All right, so now we have our triple Z fold or triple Z fold, and we can start decorating. So I will say that cutting the designer series paper and matching it up and getting it glued together probably is the trickiest part of this. So just get your pieces cut, get them glued down, and then it's easier to, I knew I had a lot of glue on there, spludge. Then it's easy to just glue your whole card base together. And now we're going to decorate. So I'm going to take these two strips of grass and adhere them. You could use mini dimensionals if you want. I'm just going to take and adhere them kind of down there, leaving a little bit of room to tuck my bunnies underneath. Like that. So that's going to go like that and like that. Now we need to do some stamping. So I'm going to stamp in tuxedo black, and we're going to stamp both of the bunnies. So there's going to be two bunnies on our card. So the bunny with the lopsided ear and the bunny with the floppy ear. Make sure you, oh no, I think I gave you extra. So I gave you two little pieces of basic white for this sentiments. All right, so we've got our two bunnies. Oh, we need the little tiny chip. And that would mean that I have to find my stamps, which are here. There we go. Here's the little chick. Little chick. There we go. My sideways chick. And I need, oh, and I need a carrot or two. All right. So we're also going to stamp a carrot. So now you can color these. We're going to leave the bunnies white and just do the ears in pretty in pink, and the little nose. You could do the little tails with Winkastella, I think would look cute. And then, oh, I forgot the yellow. So I've got Daffodil Delight here that I'm just going to do my, ooh, I probably should have used the light Daffodil Delight. Oh well. I'm just coloring. I'm not going to actually do any blending. And I've got Timid Tiger, and I'm going to do his little beak in dark Timid Tiger. And then I'm going to use the light Timid Tiger for the carrot. And the dark, I'm just going to add some of the lines. Like that. And the leaves on the carrot in Shy Shamrock. Like that. So in this case, I've got 3 pieces to die cut, so I am going to pull out the dies. So hopefully I've left enough room. I've got my carrot and my little chick. Now I like to use tear and tape when I'm going to die cut, because I always have an issue with my dies and my paper moving. So you could use tear and tape, or you can use post-it notes, or you could use washi tape. But I'm oh, good. I love Z-fold cards, and so this was a different Z-fold card for me. I have never done it quite this way, so it was fun to make. Like I said, it's been fun to collaborate, because there's colors and designs and things that I have never done before. All right, hopefully I've left enough room to cut my little chick out. All right, and I brought over my little mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss, because this piece of cardstock is just the right size for it. And so we will cut this out. Yeah, everybody's doing their own live. Yeah, we're not doing them together. Like I said, I've never done it this way before, but it's, yeah, this is the way we decided to do it. It's hard to bring everybody together into one big group, and so we reach more people by doing it this way, I think. All right, so now we're going to just take, and we can just tuck, and I did leave enough room, I can just tuck my bunnies underneath the grass, and you can use, you can just use glue, or you can use dimensionals, whatever you want. Make sure if you are, when you're gluing them on or adhering them on, you're only adhering, this one doesn't matter so much. I'm going to just stick him underneath the grass like that. That one is fine. This one, make sure he's only adhered to this middle section. Otherwise, you'll have him sticking to the back of the card. And I think I just did that wrong. Yeah, I did. Let's just adhere him to the back part, the bottom part. And he's going to stick up over the card like that. And then we've got our little chick. And he's just going to go on here, just down like that. And you can just take and, if you have an X-Acto knife, you can take and just cut a little tiny hole right here in this one's arm. Maybe do it before you put it on the card. That would have been good. I don't have an X-Acto knife handy, or there is the extra tool for the take your pick tool. So I'm just taking my paper snips, and I'm gonna just take a mini dimensional. There's my take your pick tool. So we're gonna put the mini dimensional on the back of my carrot, and I'm going to just tuck this carrot into that slit that I made. Just looks like my bunny's carrying the carrot in his arm. Of course, my dimensional is right there, so it's not going to go in very well, but that's okay. You get the idea. So now my bunny is carrying his carrot. Now, you have 2 extra pieces of basic white cardstock. Now, I think that Lisa, in her picture, showed stamping the front, the Easter's on its way, in Pretty in Pink. And then for you on the inside, both in Pretty in Pink, but I don't have it handy. So I'm going to stamp in tuxedo black. So for you, and Easter's on its way. So you can stamp them in whatever colors you've got. So we're going to take and fussy cut. If you like to fussy cut out this Easter's on its way. If you don't like to fussy cut, just leave it on the rectangle. And the for you doesn't have to be. And again, we're going to use dimensionals. We're going to use dimensionals for the Easter's on its way. And we have to tie a little bow as well. And I'm just going to use liquid glue on the for you. If I can find my liquid glue under this mess. And this is just going to go, when you open up the card, it's just going to go on this section here. How cute is that? Oh my gosh, he's so adorable. Now we need a bow. So just take a little bit of your ribbon. Now if you do the bunny ear, it's appropriate, isn't it? A bunny ear ribbon, a bunny ear bow. The bunny ears, just take 2 loops, hold them, and then kind of tuck one under the other and pull it tight, and you have a bow. That's not normally the way I do it, but I don't know, bunny ear bow on this kind of card with all the bunnies. All right. And then you can trim the ends and just use a glue dot to adhere the bow to here, just above the sentiment. All right, how adorable is that little card? All right, I'm going to bring in all of the ones. My cards. So these are the first 4 cards. Let's zoom out here. These were the first 4 cards that we created. So this was the first one. This was a diagonal joy fold card. And then this was the second one, a Dutch door card with Happy Easter. And then this adorable little basket that you can put candy in for your table. And then this triple Z fold card. All right, and I know that if you were crafting with me, you may not have been as quick as I was, but you've got lots of time. So I will be live again tomorrow at 10 o'clock with the other 4 projects. So tomorrow, I'm trying to think about what the other 4 projects are. There is a little box, so another little treat box, a fancy fold called an Inside Out flap card, and another little treat box that you're going to be making. So a couple of 3D and a couple of cards for you tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you missed out grabbing this, it's still available. You can order the Everything I Want It All if you don't have the bundle, and you will get the bundle plus the Designer Series paper and ribbon and embellishments plus a make and take kit and a pillow gift. If you already have the bundle, the make and take kit comes with a package of Designer Series paper, ribbon and embellishments, and the pillow gift. And then if you have got everything you need, you can still get the tutorial, or maybe you don't live in Canada, you can get the tutorial. It's $25, and so I will make sure the link to order the all the options is underneath the description of this video. So if you're interested in it, you still have some time to grab this. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. It was a long live, so stay tuned and